For eons, the moon has been our constant companion, rising and falling, keeping rhythm with the tides, shaping our myths and calendars. We've watched it wax and wane, sending our messages and dreams to the sky. The moon has been there for humanity, before there was civilization, before there was language, before there was even science. And yet, for all our gazing, for all our reverence, the moon has remained a distant and inhospitable place. Its surface is desolate, its sky empty. It has no air, no oceans, no soft green meadows. It is a lifeless rock, hanging above us, silent and untouched. But humanity has never been one to stand by when there's a question left unanswered. We've explored our own planet, crossed oceans, scaled mountains, and walked into the unknown. And now we ask, could we change the moon? Could we transform it from a frozen, barren landscape into a thriving world? A place we could one day call home? This question isn't a simple dream or idle thought. It's the heart of a larger journey, one that asks not only about the possibility of terraforming, but about who we are, what we aspire to, and whether our future lies among the stars. Before we begin to imagine how we could change the moon, we must first understand what we're dealing with. What is the moon? What challenges would we have to overcome? The moon is our closest neighbor in space, orbiting Earth at an average distance of 384,000 kilometers. It's the fifth largest moon in the solar system, and the only one Earth has. It's pockmarked with craters, scarred from billions of years of bombardment by asteroids, meteoroids, and comets. Its surface is covered in a fine dust, lunar regolith. That, while fascinating, is also one of the biggest challenges we face. This dust is abrasive, clinging to everything, and would be harmful to both humans and machinery. The moon has no atmosphere to speak of. There's no air to breathe, no water in rivers or lakes, and no protection from the sun's radiation or the endless vacuum of space. Temperature fluctuations are extreme. During the lunar day, the surface can reach a blistering 127 degrees Celsius, while at night, it drops to minus 173 degrees Celsius. These are temperatures far beyond anything we could live with without the help of technology. And, of course, gravity is a key issue. The moon's gravity is only 1/6 that of Earth's. This would mean that, while we could jump much higher and carry heavier loads, long-term exposure to low gravity could have serious consequences for human health. Muscle and bone loss, fluid distribution issues, and other biological effects would need to be managed carefully. The moon is beautiful in its own way, yes, but it's a place that is cruel and unwelcoming to life. But could it be done? Could we transform this harsh, desolate world into something that could sustain life? The idea of terraforming the moon is daunting, and it requires us to think not just about how we might survive there, but how we could make the environment itself more hospitable. To terraform the moon means reshaping the very nature of its surface, atmosphere, and climate. It means engineering a new world. Could we give the moon an atmosphere? Well, the first challenge is gravity, or more accurately, the lack of it. The moon's gravity is simply too weak to hold onto a thick atmosphere. Any gases we introduced would eventually escape into space, leaving us with little more than a fleeting breath. Some ideas have been proposed, however. One theory suggests creating localized biospheres, enclosed habitats with self-contained ecosystems. Imagine massive glass domes or subterranean cities where breathable air, warmth, and water could be controlled and contained. It wouldn't be a full, planetary atmosphere, but it would be a place where life could begin. For these biospheres, we would need to harvest the ice trapped in the lunar poles. Some scientists believe there are billions of tons of water in permanent shadow near the poles, just waiting to be extracted. Water is critical for life, not only for drinking, but also for agriculture, for creating oxygen, and even for regulating temperature. Without water, no ecosystem could be sustained. Water, it's the essence of life. But the moon, without an atmosphere, cannot hold water for long periods of time. Even if we find ice at the poles and extract it, the absence of air pressure means that water would quickly evaporate or freeze once exposed to the lunar environment. This means any settlement on the moon would have to be protected in some way. Pressurized habitats, sealed domes, or underground bases would be our safest bet. But these environments wouldn't just require water and air. They would also need a way to regulate temperature, protect from radiation, and provide a sustainable source of energy. Energy would be one of the most important resources for a lunar colony. Without a magnetic field to protect us from cosmic rays, radiation, and solar flares, we'd need to generate our own protective energy. Solar power would be the most obvious choice, harnessing the sun's energy through massive solar panels spread across the moon's surface. But even solar power has its limitations, especially given the extreme temperature differences between day and night on the moon. We could, in theory, build huge solar farms or even use the moon's regolith to create solar concentrators that would power everything from life support systems to hydroponic farms. The key would be creating a self-sustaining ecosystem, one where water, energy, and food are all recycled and replenished in a closed-loop system. But as we entertain the notion of terraforming, we must also pause to consider the deeper questions. What right do we have to change the moon? What right do we have to shape an alien world in our image? There are those who believe that the moon, untouched, holds an intrinsic value as a natural celestial body. It has been a witness to the history of our solar system, a silent observer of the cosmos. Do we risk losing something irreplaceable if we alter it? On the other hand, there are those who argue that humanity's destiny lies in the stars, that our future and our survival may depend on our ability to expand beyond Earth. The moon, in this view, is not a relic to be preserved, but a stepping stone for humanity's grand journey. Terraforming the moon isn't just about altering the landscape. It's about altering our relationship with the cosmos. It's about asking, what does it mean to be human? And how do we live in harmony with the universe around us? Should we preserve the moon as it is, or should we reshape it to fit our needs? And in doing so, shape our own future? Maybe the answer lies somewhere in between. Maybe the moon doesn't need to become a perfect replica of Earth. Maybe it's enough to create pockets of life, oases that prove we can live, not just survive, beyond the confines of Earth. Perhaps the real goal isn't to terraform the moon in the traditional sense, but to use the moon as a proving ground, a test bed for larger, more ambitious projects on Mars or beyond. If we can survive on the moon, we may be able to survive anywhere. The moon, in all its barren glory, could become our first great laboratory for life beyond Earth, a place where humanity proves it can adapt, innovate, and grow. A place where we learn not just how to survive, but how to thrive in the vastness of space. And perhaps one day, when we look up at the moon, we'll see more than just the pale, empty rock we see now. Perhaps, in our lifetimes or the lifetimes of our children, the moon will become a new horizon, not just a symbol of the past, but a beacon for the future.